Hello, everybody. Today we're doing a Smite support tier list for patch OB12, and I am joined with my friend Clockletone. Say hi, Clockletone.
Hello, I'm Clockletone. How are you?
Yes, Clockletone plays ranked with me a lot. He plays support sometimes when I'm not playing support, and he also plays solo, so we figured it'd be a good idea to do a joint tier list. Before we get started, I want to point out the god pool that we have chosen is on the left here. I removed some characters from my last tier list just because they haven't really been played in a while. If you see anybody that's not on this tier list, that's either because I don't think they're really a supportive character in a lot of ways, or I just haven't played them enough to warrant an opinion on them, or Clockletone hasn't played them enough to warrant an opinion on them. A quick breakdown of the tiers. We have S tier, that's completely OP characters that you must pick or ban every game. 8+ means they're not broken, but they're overperforming. They're very strong. A is just your standard balance tier. B is slightly below balance. Basically, their weaknesses are a little bit stronger, but they're still not bad. C, same thing. These are generally bad picks that are easily countered. You're usually only picking these to counter specific characters or specific team comps. And then D tier is just you're straight trolling if you pick this right now. Okay, and to start, so how we're going to do this, we and Clockletone have already planned this out, but I'm going to start first, and then we're going to alternate each god who starts first. So to start off, we're going to be talking about Athena. Now, for Athena, I think right now she's actually a lot better than I had her before. I think I'm actually going to myself. I am personally thinking either A+ or A. I think she's super tanky. She offers a lot of utility right now. You know, her taunt still has the issue of it's basically a free engage for the enemy team. However, her ult can really save people, especially with that big shield it gives, and can allow for some great early game rotations, and also can let you focus on other parts of the map while also being able to quickly rotate to the other side of the map in an instant if like they get ganked or if you get out rotated. She also does decent damage right now if you throw in a few intelligence items like Chronos Pendant or even like a Life Binder. You probably wouldn't go Life Binder in her, but you know, she does decent damage. So overall, I think she's like an A+ or A pick. What about you, Clock?
A+ and A really like makes sense to me. I wouldn't put her in A+ mainly because I'm just a strong Athena hater. I don't like that character. I've never liked playing her in Smite 2. But I have also been saved, and we've also done a lot of good engages with you just ulting me as Athena. I just go in and CC a bunch of people, and our team just follows up from that.
Yeah, I think if maybe if you're in comms, A+. If you're not in comms, she's A. Because the comms really make it, like, there's been so many plays where I'm like, hey, go in and I can ult you. And you've been like, okay. And you can only really ever do that on Athena because, you know, she's really the only character that can do that. Now, unfortunately, we have to talk about Athena aspect. Where do you think that goes, Clock? For support specifically. Oh gosh.
For support specifically, I'm gonna be so for real. I think C.
You think C?
I really think C. Because with the aspects, first you need line of sight on the enemy. You need vision of the enemy to actually ult them.
Yeah.
And currently in this patch, having that like, I think it's like what like a 15% damage bonus to the person that Athena's ulting.
Yeah.
That's really not as prevalent as people might think, at least in my experience playing with the things that run aspect. Most of the time it's Athena's in the jungle running it, and they just kind of ult to somebody and just completely one-shot them when they land because they're building full damage.
Yeah. And you're not really doing that in support, right?
No, you're not. And you're also just not really missing out on the shield and damage mitigation and movement speed is really sucky.
Yeah,
it sucks.
I think C as well, because exactly what you said. The ult, you lose so much of the value because you're losing that shield, and it's so much harder to coordinate. Like, hey, I'm gonna go and hit them because they're gonna take more damage. Versus, hey, you have a shield on you. Like, I feel like if you Athena ult one of your teammates, they just inherently usually are like, hey, I have a big shield, I'm gonna go in. But if you ult the enemy, they're not really thinking about like, oh, they have a damage increase on them. But also, you know, I think it's one of those things where I don't think it's horrible. Like, I wouldn't put it in D. I think C is perfect for it because you would really go it if your team already has good enough peel that you can afford to be a little bit more damage focused on Athena, which I still don't think you should really do in support. on her specifically, but yeah, I think C is a great place for her.
There are a couple of damage items that you can go on Athena.
Yeah.
And really get away with it. Most importantly, Whirlstone and Chronospin are like some of her best items.
I think Worldstone might unironically be her best item because of just how important it is. But yeah, I think on either Athena, it's really good. But yeah, again, this is for support specifically. Like jungle Athena with aspect is probably higher, but this is for support specifically. So now we'll go ahead and we'll talk about Aries, and Clockletone, you take us away this time.
You can also just lump this in with Aries aspect too. I think both of them are A+. I think normal Aries and Aries with this aspect, both are just fantastic. And I think they're like, you can go either or and just be fine in your rate games.
Yeah, I know a lot of people hate his aspect because you lose the protections on the two.
But it's a stun.
The stun.
A stun's a stun.
Gaining a stun is so much more valuable than people think. Because A, if you use it to engage, it's a guaranteed chains. B, you can use it to cancel abilities like Guan 3, Cerberus 2, any of Merlin's abilities usually, because he has a lot of channel wolves. Like there's a lot of stuff you can do with this aspect to make it work. And honestly, if you're playing with a team, I probably recommend no aspect, but if you're playing solo queue, I think aspect makes a lot more sense because then it lets you make your own plays a lot because you just get that stun and you're able to run people down a lot easier. Yeah, I agree completely.
And just to also put it out there, it's the aspect is also pretty good if you're not comfortable with Aries, you're new to Aries, because you could stun somebody and just like instant guarantee a chains on them.
Exactly. It's very good. You do lose the sustain from the extra HP 5 you get, and then the protections and the basic attack damage. But like I said, if it's very good because of the stun. I think it's highly underrated, and also just Aries in general is a great character because pressure is super important right now in duo. Getting early pressure so you can get the early camps. Because duo lane is in a very heavy snowball meta right now, where if you fall behind early, you're just kind of screwed for the rest of the game. So getting that early pressure is super important.
And Aries is probably the best at that. I'm gonna say he's the best at that. I think he has the most damage, just outright or damage potential. I should say out of like any.
I would say like there's better early game characters, but like once you hit level 4 in Aries and you have 2 points in chains, oh my gosh, you just run him down, man. It's so nasty what that character can do. Yeah, let's go ahead and move on now. And now we're going to talk about Afro, and she doesn't have an aspect, so I'm not going to talk about her as long. Yeah. I'll let you go first for this one. You sound like you have something to say.
This could just be me not seeing Aphrodite at all, and also just not really
make it big so we can see what we're talking about.
It's just I haven't seen a lot of Aphrodite recently, and if I'm being honest, I think she's kind of fallen off.
Okay.
Like a lot of her items aren't really good right now. Like Life Binders, and like even if she does like go damage like some prot and health item, she just kind of dies. But I would still put her in A next to Athena.
Yeah.
Because for the longest time she was A+, and she was like up there because she was like the +1 she got, and like all the shit she got when she got transitioned to Smite 2 are still really good. She's still a fantastic character, but she's definitely not as prevalent. Especially with like how much anti-heals in the game and how much anti-shielding's in the game too. If she does go Lifebinder or heroism.
Yeah, I personally I still think she could definitely be considered A+, because but the reason I agree with you and why I think A makes sense is because she's really only good at single target peel, and right now there's just so many characters that are really good at group peel that why wouldn't you just pick them instead? But that being said, she's still phenomenal at that single target peel, right? Like getting the 2/3s when you ult, giving a free beads Aegis, that's really nice. The stun on a really little cooldown's nice. The knockback is really nice. Like she can do a lot, but like you were saying, her items are pretty bad right now. Like Lifebinder's really a really rough spot to build right now. And if you go like Lifebinder Chronos Pendant, so you have damage and cooldowns, then you're not really tanky. You're not very mobile because you don't have Stampede. Like there's a lot of fallback to it. So I think A makes sense for her.
Mm-hmm.
All right, now we have Anhur. I think Anhur right now, with or without Arrowsbow, is probably with Athena. down here in C tier. I think there's just not a lot of value in it right now, unless you're in like super low ranked, like we're talking like silver, amber level, bronze, and you just really need to get out of that elo, and you go like a not necessarily a full damage on her support, but like a hybrid damage on her support where you're still supporting a little bit, but your main job is to just kills yourself and you're stuck in support. Because it's so hard to play like a peel support at that low elo because there's nothing you can do to help them get out of there. You know, it's so tough to like play support at that low elo, and like at high SR, like you really only pick this character if you're a really good on her player and you can hit the impale combo perfectly. An arrow bow, it heals you for so much if you go the build for it, but then you're not able to get a lot of the good active items right now, and so I think C tier just makes sense for him.
I agree. Whenever I see an on her lock-in support in our games and it's not you, I just kind of roll my eyes and understand I'm going to be the only one doing anything when I'm playing in solo. When it comes to peeling and engaging.
That's so valid. You only really ever go on if you go on her support when your solo laner is going like a damage character, then you kind of just lose the game. And it's really sad. Like you only can go him if you have a second tank, and that inherently makes him below A, because if you can only go a character when you have other characters in play, that makes that character not balanced. Like that makes him a counter pick character. So I think C is perfect. Now, what do you think about Aspect?
The best way I could honestly, you can put Aspect down. I would say you can put Aspect down there too, because they both
lower or higher.
I would. I mean, are we ordering the tiers?
I mean, C is definitely higher than D.
No, I mean like within the tiers.
No. It's just alphabetical. So
okay, I would know on her and on her Aspect. I would say are like pretty much the same.
Yeah,
because I would say I would put them in their own little category of gimmick supports.
Yeah, exactly.
Where on her without Aspect, the main thing he's doing, he's putting the pillar down, he is stunning, and he's making sure that an enemy is locked down to the point to where one of his other teammates can do it, or he can just kill them outright.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Aspect, except Aspect's gimmick is completely just I want to say arrow bow.
Mm-hmm.
Just because of the amount of attack that you can get from him.
Yeah, 100%. I think that makes a lot of sense. I don't think there's anything else to talk about him. So let's go ahead and talk about Apollo. This is your turn to talk first, but I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna put base Apollo down in probably D.
Probably D. No, you can put him in D because playing him without the Aspect is an actual troll.
Yeah, if you go Apollo support without Aspect, you're actually trolling. And but I think I want to be known before you get started. I want it to be known that I think Apollo Aspect is significantly higher than him without Aspect. I don't know. I'm putting that on there. So, but yeah, go ahead, Clock. What do you think about Apollo with Aspect?
Apollo Aspect, I would probably it's very team dependent, right? So I'd probably put him in A, not A plus, just A, because it really depends on who your other tank is playing, right? Like if there's a pop like let's say I pick some shit like if I pick Guan, you're not gonna pick Apollo Aspect. It's all team dependent, which I think is I would say I would put him in A. That being said, he's still a very strong A pick, but I don't think he's anywhere near A plus just because of that.
So I actually think I want to put him in B, because I agree with you on what you said about him being very team dependent. And I think that warrants B more than A, because I don't think he's a pick right now because of like the nerfs he got. I think he's still really strong, and maybe it's just I haven't played him a lot since the nerfs in support. But I think you really do still need to orient him around the team. And if you're going the Arrowsbow build, it really forces you to play a different way than supports normally want to play. And so I think that's why I would put him in B. But I also think A makes sense. But what do you think, Clock, A or B? I'll let you make the final judgment call here.
I really do think A fits it the best, because I think I'm trying to find the best way.
I think A makes sense.
I'm trying to find the best way to word this. But it's just because even without because one of the big gimmicks with ADC supports is Arrowsbow, because it's just the utility Arrowsbow has, right?
Yeah.
But just not even thinking about Aerospo, just the amount of utility Apollo himself has, I think he needs to be an A. The Mez is really strong. The attack speed you give your teammates with your so beautiful every time you cast it is fucking incredible. Your 3 giving that like as much movement speed as it does is fucking insane. Not to mention he gives shield and protections, and then his ultimate is probably probably the best ult in the game right now for a support.
Yeah, he has got a lot of utility. So with all that said, I think it makes a lot more sense for him. So I'm comfortable putting him in here. And I think, again, no aspect Apollo. If you're playing Apollo support, there's no reason to not go aspect. So that makes sense. Let's go ahead and talk about Bacchus. I think, whose turn is this? Is it my turn or your turn to talk first?
I talked about Apollo first. You go.
Okay. I think Bacchus, for me, it's going to come down to 2 things. If you can hit your flops, Bacchus is A+. If you can't hit your flops, Bacchus is A. But because of that, I think I have to just put him in A+, because if you're playing him, you probably can hit the flops. But Bacchus has so much built-in pressure. He has probably some of the best engage in the game when you flop in and hit your 3. Built-in anti-heal is super strong. Built-in a prop buff with his 1. His ultimate is really great at disrupting team fights with the like CC applies, but also just the inherent damage he can do. You know, he gets more damage the more prots he gets because of his 1 scaling. There's a lot about him that I think make him really strong. Now I think he's kind of undervalued. Maybe not A+, maybe just A anyway, because, you know, if they go like in a Willix, you can get countered pretty easily and your engage is just completely shut down. But I think he's a great engage support. I don't think he's a great peel support. So I guess with that in mind, maybe A makes more sense, because then you would really want a good solo laner that can actually peel for your team.
I would say A is probably the best for Bacchus. Also just kind of due to the fact that he's because like while the flop engage is important, Bacchus is 2 parts of a character. He is flop and stun. And looking at the other characters we have so far in A and A+, all of them have some way to interrupt one of his abilities. Yeah, exactly. With Aries, it's both. But like Bacchus, you can just his burp is just such an easy ability to interrupt.
Yep.
I mean that's why I would just keep him in A.
No, that makes sense.
And I can see you have it, so you can put aspect Bacchus down there with the base Apollo.
Yeah, I agree. I agree completely. I was thinking maybe C, but yeah, I think I want to put him in C, because all you really do is you lose the prots, so it's not that big of a debuff, but it's still pretty bad. Not getting the extra prots on your 1 is really bad. You still get the knock up and everything, so I think C makes more sense than D, but it's a very close D IMO. If there's a D+ on this tier list, I think this would go in D+. I know there's like somebody that watches my videos that really likes going Bacchus aspect, and like that's fine, it works for you. However, most of the time it's not going to work for a lot of people, and that's why I have to put it in here. I just don't understand the logic behind it. If I'm being so for real, it's to do more damage. That's what it is. Like you pick it to do more damage, but Bacchus is a character that already does enough damage that you don't need to do it IMO.
Yeah.
Okay. Baron, before you start, I'm going to put Baron with aspect in straight trolling, because that just completely removes the entire reason you play him as a support. But go ahead, Clock. Talk about Baron.
What is there to talk about Baron? He's got some of the best healing and best just kind of lockdown that you can want from a support. But he's also, I would say, right now how things are, I'd put him in B.
Yeah, I think Baron is a perfect B character, because unlike Afro, he can heal the whole team. He has a lot of team-based utility, but it's all combat-based. Like, you have to be in combat to get the utility. He requires a really good team to make him work. But when he does work, man, does he work. He can do so much. He can heal for so much. The movement speed is a lot. He does a lot of base damage. He has a lot of lockdown, like you were talking about. He gives his team a really nice multi-pot chalice that they can refill that does damage. There's a lot to him that I think makes sense. But B, I think, is perfect for him, because he can get countered really easily. and he needs a really good team in order to be good.
Yeah, I really do agree. And again, it also just does come down to how prevalent anti-heal is. And I think an item that I think you'll agree with me has been kind of really slept on ever since I got added is Contagion.
Yeah.
Contagion just ruins Baron. Because his whole thing is ability spam and wanting to get as many heals out as possible.
Yeah.
Like, launch as many abilities. And Contagion just kind of messes with that whole game plan that he wants to do.
Yeah, because Contagion applies the anti-heal, and then also, while you're anti-healed, if you use any of your other abilities, you're giving them cooldown resets, and that's just a no bueno. So yeah, I think that makes sense. Yeah, I think that's a perfect spot for him. All right, Bellona. Okay. So similar to everybody else, I'm gonna put her non-aspect. Bellona is going in D because if you're going Bellona support, there's no reason to not go the aspect. Quite literally, there's no negative drawbacks to her aspect in the support role, other than you losing the extra damage on your 2, but you're gaining so much support value.
I would say you can move base Bellona up to C.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
I
think you can move base Bellona up to C.
Because
Bellona herself...
Like, why would you choose to not go the aspect?
Lane pressure with your bludgeon, just the extra slam damage.
But you still have lane pressure.
No, but what I'm saying is base Bellona can still support perfectly fine. You can do fine with it. It's just the aspect is just infinitely better than base Bellona when you want to play her in that support role.
Okay, Clock. Okay, you swayed me. I'll put her in C. I think personally.
No, I agree with you. I think it is troll, but Bellona support has worked in the past, even without the aspect. But with aspect, I would put her right next to Baron.
Yeah, because
I'd put her right next to Baron.
She's another gimmick support, but the thing is, her gimmick works so much better, and she just completely shuts down the enemy ADC. Right? If you sit in your 1 and you're boxing the enemy ADC in lane, they are done for, man. Those block stacks on you, your ally, the minions, their enemy ADC is so sad the entire time. And then late game, you're healing everybody for so much. It's one of those characters where she's not very good, but when she is good, she's pretty good.
It also just comes down to why Aphrodite is an A and not A+. It's just, and this really just goes for like auto attack speed, like auto attack warriors in general, where their items just aren't good right now.
Yeah,
and it's kind of hard to actually justify playing an AA warrior in general, and especially in support, because the really only like AA support items you have are, besides like Arrow's bow, which is if you're playing Bellona support and not going Arrow's bow, you're just kind of trolling. You're kind of playing that bit wrong. You have Pharaoh's Curse and you have Shogun's. Those are your only 2 items that you can really realistically buy and still like maintain some level of tankiness. Yeah,
that makes sense. I think another thing why I think Bellona's not like better is she has, other than the Arrows bow and like her 1 and her ult, she doesn't really have a form of peel. Like even the like more aggressive characters like Aries still generally speaking has peel. It's just he's able to kill you and that's the peel. Or if you have aspect, then he has a stun. That's actually
it's just one of the things where Bellona aspect has her own unique form of peel.
Yeah.
Where she is like her backline peel is her body blocking and autoing to give you and your team block stacks, which is why I think her being in B is fine because it is also team dependent.
Yep.
Like if you see their team and they have like a Nemesis, Kali, Apollo, and like an Amaterasu, for example, like they are really like a really auto attack heavy team. I had to think about it.
No, but she definitely fucks that team up. Like none of them are happy that they're.
I feel like we've run across that in ranked at some point. I'm just saying. I feel like we've run across that.
We probably have, but yeah, no. When she works great. Like if you play her, you just have to focus the enemy ADC and just put them uber behind and play around duo most of the game, or any other auto attack based character for most of the game, because Bellona is one of the best characters at shutting those characters down. All right, Clock, let's go ahead and talk about Cabrakan. And honestly, I'm going to just sit out of this one completely because this is your guy. And you have the whole floor for Cabrakan. Whatever you say on Cabrakan, your word is law here.
This could just be because of my favoritism with the character. but I think he goes up there with Aries. I'm being so for real. The amount of disruption and the amount of like lockdown Cabrakan has is disgusting. And because we're also kind of fizzling out of the shell shield meta that we're kind of in, that we were in for a good bit, people aren't going to be buying shell anymore. I feel like we're going to see a lot more beads, a lot more blinks potentially. Sunder might make a comeback just because of like the nerfs to shield and shell, which just makes Cabrakan ult even better. The additional cripple he has on his 3 just makes it so that like gods like Apollo, Cupid, Medusa, or maybe not Medusa, she's not really like it right now, but like a lot of the top ADCs they can't really escape a Cabrakan just with how much like lockdown he has. And even if you're not playing that like an engaged style of Cabrakan, his peel is again fucking just fucking crazy. Because it's like if someone like if the jungler dies your backline, you can just run back there, stun them twice, and cripple them within enough time to like everyone just dogpile them and then kill them. Cabrakan's fucking crazy right now.
Nothing is scarier than a Cabrakan that's playing as a backline peel support, because you know he can kill you. He's just waiting for you to jump in so he can kill you. Like I think that's honestly scarier than an aggressive Cabrakan, because then you jump in, but you know his stuff is up and he's going to kill you. It's so sad.
It makes it so that you have to really plan around. You need at least like 2 people to like target the Cabrakan first, make sure he's dealt with, and if you're not dead by then, maybe you can kill the rest of the backline.
Yeah.
Maybe.
All right. Well, I like that clock. Like I said, he's your dude, so I let you have the floor with that one. And now we'll both talk about Cerberus. Does Cabrakan have an aspect?
No, he doesn't.
Okay.
But you told me that you don't. You told me that I hate Cerberus, so I'm gonna let you talk about Cerberus.
I did say it. That was a joke, but yeah. I think Cerberus is A+ still. I think Cerberus is always going to be somewhat of a good pick in most cases in ranked, because he just does so much as a character. You know, he lacks a lot of peel, and that's okay. He's similar to Aries, where and even the Bellona, in the sense of his peel comes in different ways, where he has an insane slow. He does so much damage. He has a magical prot shred, so your mage is doing more damage. His ultimate is really good at burning beads, and if they don't use beads, then it's almost a guaranteed kill if your mage follows up with it. You know, there's a lot of abilities that can immune his ultimate, like Aries, and that sucks. But overall, it's still just a heavy damage ability, and he's inherently really tanky. He's got that built-in anti-heal passive that also heals him. That's always good. And if you're hitting your stuns on cooldown, you're like half healthing a lot of the carries, and you're able to do a lot of damage. He's a very good engage support, very bad peel support, and he's just a general good frontline. So I think he's A+. Now, Cerberus aspect, I think is still good in support. But I don't think it's nearly as good as normal Cerberus in support. And the reason I say that is Cerberus aspect in solo, it's a lot easier for you to stack it because you're jumping in a lot more often. Cerberus in support, you can't really jump in that often because you don't have as many items. And if you jump in, you're probably dead if you don't have your team with you. So it's a lot harder to play around his aspect. But that being said, once you get it stacked, it's still good. So I think I want to put him in B with the aspect. Maybe C, but I think B.
No, I have to really think about it, because I genuinely think Cerberus aspect is.
Oh, you know what? No, I completely forgot about the ult. Never mind. I want to put this in D.
Hold on.
What?
Hold on. I don't want to put it in D. You can put it in C.
Yeah.
Because it's still a CC. You're still knocking them up, right?
But it's so bad. It's just a get
so to. And you're losing out on the healing from the souls for the chance that
that's another
might,
massive thing.
And the fact that my 2 can prot shred you for longer.
But it can still be canceled.
It can still be canceled too, but like again, it's also very team comp dependent. But I think this is the most niche case for if your team has no CC somehow, Wait, no, not even no. Put that shit in D because even if the team doesn't even have CC on the team, they can buy Jade Scepter and ruin his day.
Yeah, that's what I'm telling you, dude. The aspect is just bad because the only use case is if you get it stacked mega early in solo, and then you have because even if they Jade Scepter you. But here's the thing about Jade Scepter is mids are rushing that shit right now. It is such a popular item that it just ruins him as a character. And Xerxes is another really popular item in both support and mid. That all like there's just so many things that counter the aspect. It's just bad, man. It's just but like I said, if you get it stacked, it can do insane things in a team fight. But then you also have the problem of like, oh shit, almost every one of these characters on this tier list at all has some way to stop his 2. In aspect and no aspect. So no matter what, you have to get a Magi's on him. Like he Cerberus aspect is, I think, the only character in the game that no matter what is happening, you need a Magi's cloak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So there's just not, yep. It's just if it didn't do what it does to the ult, I think this would be a lot better. But it just fucks the ult so bad. Yeah, that's Cerberus. All right, let's talk about Cupid. Clock, I will talk first about Cupid because I love Cupid support. Although I love Cupid support, I think it's bad right now. I think it's better than Anhur support, but I still think it's in C. I don't think you ever really want to play it over a Baron. And I think that's really important. Like, you're only ever going Cupid support if you're going Arrowsbow. And the Arrowsbow characters just inherently aren't doing great right now, other than Apollo. And Cupid has a lot of actually, I think B makes sense for him because I'm confident B. I'm confident B because the Heart Bomb stun is nice. Sorry, this is also Cupid with aspect. I think Cupid with aspect is a must play in support if you're going Cupid aspect or if you're going Cupid. The stun of the Heart Bomb is an actual form of heal. Even without Arrowsbow, you still have decent healing on your 2. Your ult heals, but it not really. It's kind of like a health pot tick, to be honest with you. But his ult is a great zone control tool, kind of like Ganesha. You just pop it down. Even if you don't hit anybody with it, they have to really think about what they have to do next, and it can really fuck up a team fight. And his 3 applies so much attack to the team that you and your ADC are able to rush objectives really easily. Like, you and your ADC can solo Gold Fury, like, at 7 minutes in the game. Like, the moment you get Arrowsbow, you and your ADC can rush a Gold Fury and solo it. It's super easy. And similar with, like, Pyro, you and the ADC can solo it. There's just a lot of stuff that he can do, and I think that puts him in B. I don't think he's better than B, like, ever, unless he gets a major buff. He can still get countered easily, so I think B makes sense for him. And then non-aspect Cupid, I think, is similar to Apollo, where there's just no reason to play it in support. Because although the extra damage in Heart Bomb is nice, it just doesn't matter because you're, like, at most, if you're playing Cupid support, you have, like, 1 damage item. Maybe 2. And so the extra Heart Bomb damage doesn't even mean anything. And that extra shield and heal you get from the Heart Bomb at level 1 through, like, 5 with your ADC is so valuable in that laning phase. What do you think, Clock?
I agree.
Okay, wonderful. Clockletone, I'll let you talk about Fenrir because I think you have never played Fenrir support. Am I right about that, or am I wrong?
I've never played Fenrir in Smite 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, that character doesn't make sense in my head. I've never liked Fenrir. I don't think I ever will like Fenrir. However, I think I would put him in next to Aspect Cupid in support. I think that goes for put regular Fenrir down in C, but Aspect Fenrir I would put in next to Cupid.
All right, I'm gonna actually put them side by side, and I'll tell you why.
Really?
But I think side by side is the correct pairing because there's 2 different ways to play Fenrir support that are really important to know. And I talked about this in my first tier list video, but I didn't go super in depth on it. One of the ways you can play support right now is to play as a pseudo second jungler. You're still tanky. You're still playing as a support, but you have enough damage like built into your kit that you're able to go and invade the enemy jungle and make a gank plays. And Fenrir is one of the characters that can do that with his inherent like damage. And that's a very good way to play the game. You early on, you get a lead. You immediately go and take like the enemy back camps. You take the enemy purple, take the enemy red buff. You're just on cooldown. Your job is to just invade their primary buffs and waste the jungler's time. Because even if you miss out on that and the enemy jungler gets the buff, you still just turn and start attacking them. And you're still somewhat tanky because you have like a defense item as well. And at that point, they're just losing time farming because they have to deal with you in their face. And that's very valuable. Now, Fenrir Aspect is also very valuable because you lose that damage, but you gain tankiness, you gain extra tankiness, you gain a slow on the Brutalize, which is really nice. You just lose the damage. So I think both of them go side by side. They're just different ways to play the character. Like if you go Fenrir Aspect, you're not really looking to invade as much because you can't without that Brutalize damage. At that point, you're looking for kills more than anything because you set up kills with the Brutalize slow, and then you have ult to pair it with a lot of really good teammate ultimate abilities or to just burn people's beads.
Okay, you certainly know more about that than I do, so I mean, I'll give that to you.
All right, word.
And this next one, I'm gonna also just leave entirely up to you because I haven't been able to play Ganesh yet. And
no, Clock, I want you to talk about Ganesh because you played a lot of Ganesh in Smite 1. So I'll let you start with Ganesh, and then I'll talk about what in Smite 2 makes him better.
I mean, so honestly, because like Ganesh in Smite 1 always felt like he always did one. He always did one thing, pretty much. Like he always had the objective share with his ult, right? But he always did one thing, and that one thing he did it really good, and that's locking down a singular person. Where he like dashing in and being able to knock somebody up and then just immediately kind of like silence them for like I think it's like a 2-second silence.
I think it's 3.
Like a channeled silence. It's 3 seconds, yeah. And just giving props to your entire team. I always enjoyed playing Ganesh. I know a lot of people will find his playstyle boring, but I just really like him. And this is also just like me kind of geeking out. I think his representation in Smite is really good. Just compared to how he is portrayed in in like Hindi religion and stuff. I think it's really cool. How he is in Smite 2, I wouldn't be able to tell you. And that's mainly where your expertise is.
All right, cool. Ganesh in Smite 2, I think is so fucking good because, like what Clock said, he is really good at locking down one like individual person, but he can do that so much better in Smite 2. One of the things that I love about Ganesh in Smite 2 that I have seen very few people talk about. They did increase how far the 3 knocks up in Smite 2. Your 3 sends them flying in the air now. But and people talk about that. They talked about that. But what they don't talk about is that knock up now allows you to, while they're in the air, you can walk under them and get a guaranteed body block. And that is massive, especially if you pair that with the ult combo and you are like in a tight corner. There are so many plays where you can just get your fat elephant body behind them after that knockup and just continue that lockdown. And it's so good for kill chasing. It's so good for peel because you're able to body block your ADC some more. There's just so much with that alone that makes him so good. Also, one thing I want to note, his pillars, apparently, me and Clockletone have discovered this the other day, they have a knockup on them if you hit the pillar on somebody, which is really funny. That's a very niche scenario, but that's there. His damage is still very relevant in Smite 2. But one of the things that is very important is Ganesh 2 at max level gives your teammates 60 of each protection. However, his +1 in Smite 2 is that he gets an extra 50% of that to himself. His 2 gives him 90 of each protections when he's channeling it. So any like basic support build you're going, when you pop 2, you're literally giving yourself an extra 100 protections for 3 seconds. And that is so valuable. It's also displacement immune, meaning you cannot get Aries ulted, you cannot get Cerberus ulted, you can't get Bacchus knocked up, you can't get knocked up by Vulcan, you can't get pushed away by Anhur. There is so much value in Ganesh and Smite 2. I think he is an A+ for sure. Also, he can't steal kills, and he gets 50 bonus gold. The 50 bonus gold alone puts him at A plus because that's how good bonus gold is in a MOBA. But I had to talk about the other stuff first. So that's my talk on Ganesh. Did you know that, Clock? Did you know that about the protections?
What, him giving you 60 of each protection?
Plus the 50%, so that puts it at 30 to himself. He gets 90 of each protection to himself for 3 seconds when he channels his 2. It is an insane ability in Smite 2. All right, Clock, you know how I feel about this one. So this is all you, buddy. Oh, hold on, actually. I know what I need to do.
Hold on. Debus, I gotta restart my Discord real quick. My Discord bugged out.
You're good. I'll be waiting for you. While Clock restarts his Discord, I will talk.
I gotta restart my Discord. I'll be right back.
All right, yeah. While Clock does that, I will talk about Geb aspect. This is the most troll thing in the game. I think this is stupid. I think if you go Geb aspect and support, you hate yourself, and you're probably a masochist, and you should go seek professional help. This is the most unfun I've ever had in the video game in my 8-9 years playing Smite. Every time I go this, it's always on accident, and I want to kill myself. Okay, so that's Geb aspect. Clock, when you're ready, go ahead and talk about Geb.
I'm not gonna lie. Again, this could also just be a me thing, but I think Geb is kind of bad. With how much anti-shielding is in the game, there's really not much Geb does besides his knockup and his ultimate.
He does have the anti-crit passive.
He does, but we're really not in a crit meta anymore where that would be prevalent. Putting him in B, I think, is the best thing you can really do. I think
B. What, Clock, I went on a very big rant about Geb aspect. You weren't here for it, but when this video comes out, I want you to watch it because I spoke the truth about it. That's all I'm gonna say. All right, yeah, there's not much more to talk about. I mean, he has a lot of peel. You know, his 3 can cleanse you out of Sobek pluck. It can cleanse you out of Fenrir ult. There's a lot it can do, but also his shield just sucks right now. And without the shield, he lacks a lot. You know, his passive is really nice. He can't take more than 20% in a single attack, and he can give that as well to one of his carries. That's pretty cool. But other than that, you know, like Clock said, crit's not very popular anymore because of what they did to Spectral. So a lot of the reasons why you'd want to go Geb, you know, with crit or shielding, it's just not existent anymore. So B makes sense for him. All right, now we have Guan Yu. I think I'm going to put Guan Yu aspect in D tier. Or no, sorry, Guan Yu non-aspect in D tier. Because I think if you're going Guan Yu in support, there's no reason to not, even more than Apollo, there's quite literally never a reason you go Guan Yu support and don't go aspect. But Clock, what do you think about Guan Yu as a support with aspect?
I think putting him in A is fair.
Okay.
I think putting him in A is fair because, again, I've said him multiple times, but I think how easy it is to apply anti-heal, it kind of makes his heal a bit worthless in team fights. But out of fights, like those rare moments when, you know, there's like a null in the fight and you guys, either your team backs off or the enemy team backs off.
Yeah.
The heal spam and this ability spam you can actually do with Guan Yu, especially with aspects, is so great. And I honestly think him, okay, you can shoot me for this. I think him and Mordred, especially, are the best use cases, and just sphere negation is like one of their best items. I'm just gonna put it out there.
No, that's valid. That's valid. I think you hit right in the head there, where anti-heal is very strong right now. It's very relevant. You're seeing it a lot. Out of combat, his heal is healing you for like 300 plus the ticks. But even in combat with anti-heal, it's still healing you for like at least 150, unless it's usually at least healing you for like 150 or around 100. But it's also on like a 1 second cooldown, the way that you're normally playing Guan Yu. Because even if you don't go full intelligence cooldown and you go defense, you're still getting it on an insanely low cooldown as long as you're hitting your dash. And also your heal lowers the cooldowns of your teammates, and you're just providing so much utility with this character. Clockletone likes to go full cooldown Vulcan and have his ult on like a 20-second cooldown, and Guan Yu with Aspect puts that on like a 10-second cooldown. Like there's a lot to this character that can really just change how other people play the game, and he could really do a lot for the team. All right, Clock. Hecate. Hecate, no Aspect, is going in D.
I would say you could bump her up to C.
I was gonna put Hecate with Aspect in C, but okay, I'll do that. I'll do that for you.
Because like there is the thing there is like the like Hecate with Aspects. I understand why you would. I'm trying to like formulate my words here. Because I think like even like, Hecate with no Aspect, I think is fine because when you're playing a mage support like Hecate or Baron or Aphrodite, you're still building some form of damage, and the damage scaling on Hecate's 2 without the Aspect, it really bumps up. And if you manage to get like full stacks on it, like let's say like you're in like a big team fight and you just kind of launch that, you're gonna be like doing like a decent chunk of health to like a squishy.
Yeah.
Or like if you're buying a Lectum of Isolation, you're playing like a slow and like a lot of damage to like a decent area of people.
Yeah. The reason that we have both Hecates in C is she does phenomenal damage. However, she has absolutely zero peel. Her only use case is the zone control, and the with her Aspect, her 2 just completely. That's why I kind of wanted to put base Hecate in D. This guy, I think Hecate Aspect is a lot better than base Hecate in support, because you're usually only ever going Hecate to counter comps that have an Uller on them and then other ability spammers. Hecate Aspect into an Uller is right now like the biggest counter in this game, and I don't think it's even close, because he quite literally cannot play the video game when you put your 2 up. He stance switches, he takes 200 damage. He uses his 1, he takes 200 damage. He uses his 2, he takes 200 damage. He stance switches again, he takes 200 damage. And your 2's on such a short cooldown that it's always up above him, and there is no way he can get out of it. And if you go like a Gem of ISO, it slows him. And then there's obviously other characters on the team, and they're throwing out abilities, so they're getting hit too. And when he's stance switching, he's usually on top of his like peel support, so he's getting hit too. Like there's a lot that happens with it, and you're only ever going her to counter pick a team. Like if your last pick, or maybe like you're playing with somebody and their last pick and you pick them something, and the enemy team has like an Uller and Aries, because every Aries chains procs it. Like a Merlin mid. What's another, like, I don't know. But like just a team like that, you can get so much value out of this character. You're going to have top damage at the end of the game, guaranteed, even if you don't go damage build, just because of how much it hits. And again, this is a C character. Like, she's not good. It's just this one specific scenario is very good for her, and that's why she's in here, because she can provide the utility, but only in that scenario. Only in that scenario. That's like Hun Batz. Hun Batz is I'm gonna put him in the exact same tier. I don't think we have to talk about him at all, to be honest with you, Clock, because we already kind of talked about Fenrir. I think Hun Batz is the exact same thing as Fenrir. But maybe Hun Batz no Aspect is a little bit lower, because the stun actually, although it does lower the damage, it does make a huge difference in how you play the character, enough to warrant like actually wanting to go the Aspect, you know?
Yep. And even like Hun Batz support, like even then, like sorry, even Hun Batz without Aspect. I mean, because it's one of those things. Because like you were still playing Hun Batz support even without the Aspect.
Yeah, you're right. I'll put him in B. I'll put him in B, because he's still good. It's one of those things where it's like I really don't think you go Hun Batz without the Aspect right now in support, but you can. It's just the Aspect is so much better. But they're both good, so I think they both make sense in B. What about you?
Yeah, no, you're right. I agree.
All right, and now we have Khepri. I'm so conflicted with Khepri, Because like Khepri is either really good or really bad because he just dies so fast and his ultimate sucks. I know Weaken hates Khepri, but I love Khepri. I think Khepri's an A pick. He can get countered pretty easily by like executes, but even with that, he's still providing a lot of value. A lot of people forget that his ult does other things than just revive. It cleanses CC, grants them movement speed. It grants them stacking protections even when he gets the revive. So even if you're using it on yourself to tank stuff, and a lot of times what I see people they don't do, and what me and you do, Clock, is I will be like, hey Clock, go in, I'll ult you, and I'll ult you like before you go in, so that way it's just on you, and they're scared because even if they kill you, you get revived. Like there's so many things about it that I think people just don't play it. I think actually, hold on, let me rephrase. I think Khepri aspect is A. I think Khepri without aspect is significantly and always worse than Khepri Khepri with aspect is significantly and always better than Khepri without aspect. You know, there's a lot of executes in the game, and that sucks, but he's still applying mitigations to teammates. He's still applying physical prot shred. He has a ranged root. He's got a built-in shield passive that's really nice. Like, he can use heroism really well. He's just all around a great peel support that also does decent damage with aspect.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, but also like I would also just say like Khepri with aspect is there are some merits to you wanting to have like the abduct pull where like if you pulling someone under a tower, pulling someone into an ability, there is that. But really, it is just like better just to go aspect.
Yeah, the aspect just it allows your teammates to follow up a lot easier, which is so silly because it's so easy to follow up on Khepri pull anyway. But just holding them in place for whatever reason, because people can't follow the pull, it allows them to follow up easier. But also, you're doing so much damage with Khepri aspect early on. If you put like an extra point to the one, it can kill people really easily. Yeah, that's Khepri. Let's go ahead and talk about Odin. Clock. I'll let you just have the floor with Odin because I haven't played him in sport at all in Smite 2. So
I would put Odin in B.
Okay.
Because again, he does this one. Well, actually, no. Actually, no. I would still put him in B because there are a lot of characters that can just kind of escape the cage, and again, Odin is one of those characters where he is a counter pick support. Right? If the enemy team is picking, some shit like Aphrodite with Cabrakan solo or Guan Yu and Cabrakan, you would pick Odin in that sense to kind of make sure you can actually lock down those specific characters that can't escape. Because you lock them down, they're going to be doing 0 damage. They have no way to actually get out, and your team can just dogpile on them. It makes it really easy to do. He's a much better solo laner, but you can still justify playing him in support. Just because he has that stun for like his own lockdown. His shield is also really nice just for getting a shield on him and just body blocking for your team. He also has, I think people sometimes forget, but he also has like a really good attack speed stim. So like if like you're near an Odin and you get hit by that first pulse, it makes shredding objectives a lot easier. But he does have his own downsides where he really falls off if his ult isn't up. Like if his ult's not up, you're not really fighting. But with how much cooldown you can actually just build in this game and how much cooldown you're actually just buying in general, you're gonna have your ult up like pretty much like every like 40 seconds. But I would still just put him in B. I don't really have any. That was like the one condition or contribution that I had to this list.
Yeah, absolutely. I think yeah, that makes sense. I'm just gonna go ahead and move along to save some time. I'm gonna put both Thor and Thor aspect in B because it's the same thing as the other assassin supports like Fenrir. It's quite literally the exact same thing, but the difference is Thor is actually a lot tankier. And his peel is actually a lot better. So between all 3 of the assassin sports that we have right now, I think Thor is the best, then Hun Batz, then Fenrir. Hun Batz is a close second, actually, but I think Thor is just inherently better because Hun Batz, his stun can be interrupted, Thor's can't. And Thor's stun is also a Ymir walls, or it's basically Ymir wall. So I think they're both in B. So now we have Raw. I'm also gonna real quickly just put base, raw, and D tier because it's abysmal dog shit, as Clockletone likes to say about other things. I think raw is a horrible character right now because similar to the other like characters like Bellona or like Odin, he does one thing, and right now that one thing is quite literally the easiest counterable thing in the game. Anti-heal is so popular, and he's just not good. Now, raw aspect I think is slightly better. I think raw aspect is C tier, but realistically, it's also probably D tier right now because it's just not offering you enough value to want to go it. You know, you have the utility. It's not just a heal, it's also a protection buff, and it gives your teammates, whoever you have it on, it gives them intelligence and strength. But you have absolutely no peel. You're losing a lot of damage. You have really good healing, but anti-heal just completely ruins that. And, you know, if they go like a Cerberus or a Bacchus, then, or even a Sobek, and we haven't even got to Sobek yet, then you're just, your entire game plan is just ruined. So you only pick this if you're last pick and they have like no anti-heal and you have no other healing on your team. IMO. What do you think, Clock?
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I don't like raw.
Yeah,
I don't like seeing raw on my team at the moment.
Yeah, when like Aspect first came out for raw, it was a different story because it was a lot better. Like, because you could, his 2 applied other items really well, like lashes and shit, and that made him a really good tank. But right now, you just don't do enough to make him valuable. But that's raw. Let's go and talk about Sobek. Clockletone, what do you think about Sobek?
If there was a also actually real quick before anything, you put Sobek aspect in B.
Sobek aspect.
Do you agree with that? I think Sobek with aspect is in B.
I don't think so. I think it's probably C, but I'll hear you out first.
Oh, that was me. Just I just assumed it would go down there.
Oh,
sorry. Because you played it more than I have, because I haven't really played it at all. But besides the aspect, if there was a character that I would say should go in S, it would be Sobek.
Yeah,
if we were to put, yeah, and I honestly I would put him in S.
Really?
I would put him up there in S because I have seen Sobek like either in a game or he is banned. Pretty much every time we play together.
Yeah,
either you're playing Sobek or he's banned.
I'm hesitant to put him in S because I don't think he's like completely broken, and I really only reserve S for like the characters that are like absolutely shit stomping right now. But for the sake of this video, I think I will put him in here. No, I'll keep it an A+, but like we'll make a mental note to everybody watching that like he definitely could go in S. Like he is in or banned almost every game. He has phenomenal setup. The pluck is a great ability. He's extremely tanky because of his passive. He has a knock up. He has anti-heal again that does insane damage, and it can spread to other people because it's poison. And he has a built-in execute as a support that heals him for like all of his health and gives him permanent max health. He is very good right now. And the reason I think his aspect sucks is because it just takes away his pluck completely, and you can still play around it because like it's still an ability. It's just a push. It's like a Hercules ones. It turns him into Hercules, but the problem is Sobek is not Hercules, and so it's just really bad. It's just really bad, and like you can still go, and I've gone it on accident many times because Smite hates me and it defaults it on even though I turned it off, and it can work. It's just I don't recommend it, and that's why him at aspect is in C. Next up we have Yemoja. I think she is an A+ character guaranteed. Without aspect, she phenomenal healing, phenomenal shielding. Her shielding is actually better than the healing. Even with erosion, the way the shield bounces, you're still getting value out of it. She can also reduce enemy shields inherently, which is really good. Her stun can stun objectives. Amazing zone control. Built-in prots on her 3. She can proc her own spirit robe, which makes her really tanky, and she heals for a bunch. She's just overall really good. And then Yemoja aspect is, I think, probably D tier because it just removes everything you want to do as a support. It's straight trolling if you go Yemoja aspect. And Clockletone, last but not least, I will let you say whatever you want to about Ymir, and that will end the video.
I want to say, honestly, I would say Ymir is, I don't want to say slept on, but pretty good. Like, he's pretty cool. I would say A, yeah. Like, cause he's easy to play, easy to pick up, first of all. But he just also has like a great source of CC, a great source of lockdown, great peel. Someone jumps on your fucking team. It's just like someone jumps on your on like your backline, you can just turn around, freeze them, wall them off, ult him to slow him to all hell.
Yeah. I think Ymir, I think that makes sense. I think he's a very in between A and A plus. I think he's very good. He's very slept on. There are moments when he's really bad because of how slow he is. But other than that, I think he's a very good character. And I agree, he's really slept on. He can invade really well. He has lots of pressure in lane and late game. Big damage numbers on everything he does. He's one of the few Guardians that can solo win early game just because of how high his damage is. It's so crazy. He hits you for like 70 to auto at level 1 with his passive applied. He uses all the active items really well. Stampede he uses really well. Circe's Hexstone he uses phenomenal. And Talisman of Purification he uses really well. He's just all around a really good character that he's easily countered, so his strengths and weaknesses are pretty similar. But yeah, I think what we have here, Clock, is a pretty accurate tier list. Now that we've like finished it, is there anything that you would do differently? Anything that you might want to move? Let me sorry, I'm just adjusting these to make it look nice and pretty. But looking at this, what do you feel about it? Is there anything that you would do differently if this was just a U tier list?
No, I think all the positions on the tier list kind of make sense. Although I would knock Yemoja down to A. On the only the only reasoning being of how difficult of a character she is, to where you see a Yemoja, it's a 50-50 if you're terrified or if you're like, oh, this is gonna be like this is gonna be easy to deal with. I'm
comfortable putting her back in A, actually, because in one of my OG tier list videos, I literally did that because I put her in like A plus or in, because there was a time where she was like broken, and I had her in S for a while. And she was still broken. And I was just like, honestly, I'm moving her down because you guys kind of suck at Yemoja. And I was just like, she's a really good character, but if you're not really good at the game, then you're going to hate your time playing Yemoja. And that's just the truth. She's probably the character with the highest like skill ceiling. And that's really cool. But it makes it really hard for people to pick her up. And yeah, so I like that, Clock. I think that makes sense. I'll move her down to A. Yeah, so this is our tier list, everybody. Thank you all for watching the video, and thank you, Clockletone, for helping with this. Was a long video, but that's okay. I think this is a really fun, and it's a good thing to have two people's opinions, and because, you know, none of my tier lists, and I think nobody's tier list you should ever take at face value. You should always make your own thoughts, because this is how, you know, this is all based on how me and Clockletone play the game. How we play the game is very different from how other people play the game, so you know, make your own judgments. Don't take this as law. You know, this is just how we view the meta right now. And yeah, goodbye, everybody.